Nursery is not appropriate for those under 18 years old. Coming to you from websites thirdclass.net and bullskit.com, Nursery is sponsored by the Orange Avocado, raw gluten-free desserts. Check them out on Facebook. The Speaking of Music Show, an audio editorial program about music of yesterday and today. Check them out on YouTube. Timeless Shots Photography, capturing moments for all occasions at timelessshots.com. And Leslie Cusano, Cusano Photography at lesliecusanophotography.com. Find them on Facebook. Find them on Instagram as all one word, Cusano Photography. We need sponsors to fund our tours, comedic endeavors, and podcast promotion. If you have a local organization or business and you're interested in sponsoring an episode of Nursery, email me at cloegrave@gmail.com. CHLOEGRAVE@gmail.com. It's cheap, easy, and it's great promotion to a great demographic. Also, if you'd like to fund us with a small monthly donation, visit patreon.com/thirdclass, patreon.com/thirdclass. Thanks for listening.
The nursery and all of the trees cross over the dark, and some old parking lots hold my whimpering thoughts, and I'm on the next train. You and me, can't you see what this means? In the light of a torch, realize nothing is forced, nothing is forced.
Hey guys, welcome to Nursery, a podcast from Ohio's creative voice.
What up?
What's up, man? My guest today on Lee Boyle from the band Third Class. Go on thirdclass.net, bullskit.com to find all these episodes, videos, music, and more. You know the drill. I talk about it too much. Tell them who you are, what you do.
This is Joshua Fellows from the south side of Youngstown, Ohio, America.
Nice. And what do you do first and foremost? Do you think of yourself as a tattoo artist first? Or like, is there other kind of art that you do? Or
There is other art that I do, but my passion that's fueled on a daily basis, yes, is tattoos, for sure.
Okay. And so to talk a bit about my connection with you, I did an interview in an episode the listeners can go back and hear called Intensity and Euphoria with a guy named Sam from Sam Goodwill.
Awesome.
And your brother Jesse is in a band that I was a huge fan of after Z.
Yep.
And so my connection is twofold with you, though I never actually met you in real life. We probably had bounced around the same venues and been here and there in Youngstown, small world type thing.
Most definitely.
So why don't you talk to me about, do you like Ohio? What do you think of Ohio as a visual artist and being an artist in this state that's not necessarily always associated with art?
Well, I guess it could happen in any state, really, that really I wanted it to happen, and it has. I've traveled a lot in my life. Ohio, why I love Ohio so much, and this is the only reason, hands down, after being around the world, is my mom and dad are still here. And that's the only reason that I kick it in Ohio and bless y'all with my presence.
Nice. I like that. Well, so then where would you be otherwise? What would your first choice be if you just had it all in front of you to do that?
I would say God only knows that one. But if I had a choice, most beautiful, wow, man, there's so many of them, but Montana is gorgeous. It's amazing.
I've never been there. I've always wanted to go.
Yeah, if you got a chance, you should take that trip. It's a beautiful place. Big sky country.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Ohioans sometimes go to places like Arizona and Montana, and they're like, I could see like 5 skies. What's going on?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. I've had a couple friends move out there, for sure. So it's that's what keeps me in Ohio. That, and I am on parole from doing 2 years in upstate New York. Fuck that place. Pardon my language for anybody who.
No, it's okay.
Okay, cool.
Totally okay.
But
I
still got like 4 or 5 months left on paper.
Mm-hmm.
I got charged with weapons possession in New York. Yeah, of course.
Gotcha.
I'm the retard. I know.
No. That's well. See, I mean, you present as someone who like does tattoos and like somebody who like has traveled a lot and stuff. I mean, you present yourself as someone who's had a storied life. It's not going to be without its downfalls, like things like that, of course.
Oh yeah.
Where do you come from as far as that side of your life goes? What have your like trials and tribulations been? And how old are you, by the way?
I just turned 36 on Thursday.
36. I'm 31 years old. What would have been like the hardest times in your life, if you don't mind me asking?
My wife leaving me and taking my kids. Hands down.
That's the worst of the worst.
Jail's nothing compared to that. So anybody who's been through that, going through that, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And do you, when you talk about jail time, is that something that's had its place in your life before, or is it just this time, the parole thing?
I would say that I've had, little bouts when I was younger, and I was definitely troubled or misguided or doing my own thing and it wasn't right.
Sure.
But really straightened up. Really the only reason I caught this case in New York is because I had a gun that I got from somebody who shouldn't have had it. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to get rid of it. Nobody wanted to help me, so I figured I'm the safest bet with this gun because I'm not going to use it for killing somebody or sticking somebody up or robbing somebody. That's not my bag. So
you got friends who kind of inadvertently probably put you in like odd positions in life.
Not even friends, just people.
People.
Prior to even going to jail in New York, there was a time where it was like 3 to 5 guns a year I was taking off of Youngstown city streets because you see 14-year-old kids with a handgun. That's like just waiting for something stupid to happen.
Yeah, for real.
If I had something in exchange, a brand new iPod, here, give me that gun, they'd win out.
Yes.
But so would I, because now I don't have to worry about that gun being sprayed over my house when I'm sitting on my patio.
So are you saying that you would actively seek out people that had weapons and try to like disarm them?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
That's interesting, man.
I feel
that's really interesting.
That's how I vote. People ask me if I vote, and I'm going to say, fuck you. Just like people ask me if I want to go to church, I'm going to say, fuck you. Because I'm active. I'm about my community. I'm about where I live and keeping it safe and making it better. And sometimes you got to get your hands dirty. Not sometimes, all the time.
Yeah.
You got to get your hands dirty.
So that I like that because that a very direct way of influencing and forming your community is to actually, with your own hands, get in there and start taking the harmful things out of people's possessions.
But with that, you've got to instill something better in there. It can't just be like, I'm gonna take this gun. You're gonna turn around and go get another one.
Yeah.
There has to be something, and the way that I choose to do it is through art. I've got to put something back in its place. My house doesn't look condemned. There's murals on my garage, and I'm just making the area look better, and that has actually encouraged all my neighbors to really, hey, we live here. We got to look at this shit. Let's clean up a little bit because we got to enjoy this.
I heard a podcast by a woman named Zoe Nightingale, and she kind of just grabs people off the street, talks to them about random subjects, some oftentimes taboo. She found a couple women who were homeless, and they wanted really badly to buy 2 rats as pets. And first she interviewed them and said, "Why do you want rats? Why? What's going on? Like, what's the deal?" And they were like, "'Cause they make really good pets, and we'll have them, and they'll be our companions." She's like, "But you got to spend your money on like food, you don't want." And she talked to them until she saw their side of it somehow, and she went into a pet store and bought them some rats. Okay. And it was like, yeah, it's just rats, whatever. Maybe she didn't have a real long-term effect, but it was like it was like a really, really soft version of what you're talking about, where like she made sure the money she gave them didn't go to like buying like more whatever they were on. And she got them rats. So it wasn't like, oh, she got them like something really great and like replaced it with something, but it was like she diffused like, oh, you're just gonna go buy something super useless. At least I know you want rats, and I can go to the store with you and get rats. Right. So like, if you're saying like, hey, I'm taking your gun, I don't want you to go out and get another gun. What do you say to them to get them to not to just turn a corner and not just go do the same thing again?
Ooh, I don't know if I can really like conjure that up on cue. It's been
different
so
per person
with each person, man, and I know. Certain kids, I keep in touch because I've been here for 17 plus years,
So this is a long con with them, right? You're like, I'm gonna stay in touch, see that you're still somewhere near the straight and narrow.
You know, some of them are in jail right now, and some of them have had families, and they've, you know, seen the light and are trying to be square, quote unquote.
Sure. I mean, I just use the term straight and narrow, so you know we're both acting
fine.
like nerds right now.
Yeah, that's cool. That's what I'm trying to be, and a lot of times I mess it up, but yeah, they see that there's hope. You don't have to spend your life in jail. You don't have to deal with this dumb shit that you're presented with on a daily basis by everybody around you.
So person by person is a different story. It's not like you have some blanket statement or some mission statement you say to somebody when you're trying to get them not to do something stupid.
Right. I mean, my only mission statement is my life. You know, when people are walking around and they're trying to be hard, and then they see me and they're like, wow, this dude looks... I mean, their original presupposition of me is, this dude looks like he's about to kill somebody. But then you get to talk to me and you're like, damn. And I can let them know straight up, you know, you do not want to go to jail for some stupid shit like holding a gun.
Yeah.
When it's not even worth it.
That's cool, man. My friend off air, my friend Sam gave me a quote of yours that said, this is just something that you might not even remember saying, but he said that...
I was probably drunk.
And this is just a jumping off point to whatever, but I think he said you said something about how, like, convenience was like... I can't remember it now, but you said, like, convenience was like hell, or convenience was like... you know, the thing that you don't want too much of, basically. I can't say it. I can't say it in a way that sounds good. But what's your position in knowing that you're in Ohio because, like, family, and knowing that, like, a lot of the places that you ended up were maybe just because, like, whatever happened. What do you think of too much convenience? Maybe by way of technology, maybe by way of, like, travel, just the idea. And do you remember saying anything like that?
Probably not. However, I think convenience serves its purpose when it's needed, but if it's abused, then obviously you're going to have, you know, it's convenient for you to set your kids in front of your TV all day to play video games, and then when you take them outside into the real world, you wonder why they're antisocial and shy, and they look like they're a beat puppy dog in a cage, because that's convenient for you to do that instead of going out and playing with them, or throwing the football or something like that. And so that's where convenience really gets in the way of progress. I think you're digressing at that point.
Sure. That makes sense, man.
But there's certain things, I mean, there's certain technologies that have made my own life a lot easier in the realm of tattooing and art-wise, you know, with just little things. It's just convenient. So you could go any way you want to with convenience. You know,
sure.
It could be good and bad, depending on the situation. So.
Sure. And you know, I mean, I awkwardly transitioned us into that conversation. You picked it up and ran with it, and I appreciate that. And we're in downtown Youngstown right now, walking around. You hear some background noises, listeners. You hear the noises of the city, the bell in the background, and this and that. Being here and having customers that you give tattoos to, do you have a strong connection with the people from Youngstown as like someone who's, you know, with your customers?
People tell me that I do, and sometimes I don't know why. I feel like I'm just a regular dude that does everyday shit, that's trying to, you know, even see his family, you know, feed his, you know, people that are around, make sure everybody's okay. I'm just a regular guy like everybody else, but everybody keeps telling me, oh, you know, people look up to you for God knows what. I got tattoos on my face. Do you want to listen to this guy? You know, I'm probably not going to sway you one way or another to do anything other than don't get tattoos on your face.
Don't get tattoos on your face. Well, are you a sociable person? Like being here downtown, you don't feel like weird? You're not I don't like being out in public, or do you feel that?
Most definitely a social person.
Yeah.
It's I love people. That's why I tattoo. I don't I don't work in a mill stuck behind something. I like the interaction, and for me For me, tattooing isn't a job. You could have all the money in the world. I don't give a fuck, you know?
Yeah.
I've tattooed Kelly Pavlik. Dude had millions of dollars at the time. But I told him straight up, I don't give a fuck who you are, how much money you got. I'm a fair dude. I'm not gonna take something more than is necessary. So.
Well, that's cool, man. What do you think of Ohio as you say you're 36?
36.
Where's your spirituality come all these years, these 36 years? Where are you now spiritually, if you don't mind talking about that? And where were you as a child?
I guess I'd have to ask you to clarify spirituality then.
Maybe like do you
what
have
do I
a certain
do
religion you identify with?
I would say fuck religion all day long.
Right.
No way.
So it's all on the side of spirituality, if anything, for you, or no to that too?
To me, I don't even look at it as a spiritual. It's such a weird word. You can go any way with it.
It's pretty open.
You could be, you could be a million things and say spiritual.
Yes.
It's like having a relationship for me. It's
like the word love, right?
Does it always work? No. Is it hard? Yes. Do I get it right ever? No. But is it there? Yeah, it's there, and it's personal. It's just like anything, When if I make love to my wife, that's personal. Those are things that you don't talk about with other people sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Sure,
So there's
sure.
different levels of. But then you talk, you chop it up about whatever, whenever, everyday life. So there's different levels to that.
Sure. And I mean, arriving at the knowledge that spirituality has different levels and it's really hard to pin down, is that something that you arrived at recently, or have you felt that way since you were young?
That has been an ongoing process, man. I mean, like a majority of people, you've been to church or whatever kind of meeting that was trying to sway you in a certain opinion, and you were hurt or burnt or pissed, and somebody did something or said something, and then now you don't want nothing to do with it. So
Sure. And that's a common story. Yeah.
Right. Despite that, I've still remained open to my roots, which I would say would be Christianity.
Sure. But you're just not a fan of boxing that stuff in, correct?
Just like voting.
Voting, yes. Same answer as that. Yeah, okay. I get you.
Do I vote? No. It'd be like somebody to say, do you go to church? And I say no. Then they say, well, you don't love Jesus. Let me tell you about him. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And that is not the way it goes down. Sorry, it's not that easy. That's why it's real easy for everybody to be a judge when they don't know, what's going on.
Gotcha.
It's really hard to sit back and say, I can't judge that person because of how they look, or maybe I went through the same thing, so what's their problem? That's not fair. It's like me looking at this cop right now in a suit and saying, fuck you because you're a cop and I hate every cop.
Yeah.
That's not fair to me.
Yeah.
That's not fair to him. I'm hurting my own self by even making that judgment call when I don't know this man.
It makes sense, man. So it's always like, if somebody tries to just stay on the surface with politics or religion, it's like they're not making it personal to themselves and therefore not getting to know what they really care about within that realm, correct?
Yeah, I'd say don't talk about it, be about it.
Yeah.
It's really easy to sit around and have a conversation about nothing.
Yeah.
And in the end get nothing done again. Or you could take a proactive stance. Now, I could wait around all day for somebody else to come along and then nothing would get done,
Yes.
So I do what I do. I love what I do. And every day is so different, man. Every day is so different. You never know what's going to happen. I'm having this interview right now talking about stuff that, maybe nobody even cares about. So.
Maybe. You have to hope there's someone, and you have to hope that it works with the convenience of like you said, social media has made it more convenient for you as a tattoo artist and things like that. Is there anybody?
I didn't say social media.
Oh, what did you say?
I said convenience. Social media, I think, is a joke.
Oh, you can't. Never mind. I thought you said.
Before even social media I was doing very well for myself just by word of mouth. I didn't have to promote, or there was none of this Facebook.
Oh, you said technological convenience made it. Yeah, you're right. I put those words in your mouth. I see.
Yeah, but social media, that's all. Yeah, I can show a lot more people, but the realness of it is if somebody sees my work and it's on somebody personally, that's the personal aspect that I'm looking for. Not, hey, look at this picture. I want somebody to see it on somebody and be like, wow, where did you get that? That's nice. I can dig what he's doing. I want to go see him.
I gotcha. Okay. Well, for listeners who might be listening, and I get my guess is that it's people from Northeast Ohio who are listening.
All right.
Is there anything you want to say to them?
Can we pause?
Sure.
All right, got it. There's a few things that I've learned and some hiatuses that I've taken in my life that were very clear even when I was adamant for the opposite to be true. I was proven wrong. One of those is that you will always have what you need in your life. And the other one is that things really do happen for a reason. That is the most cliche thing that I've heard, but it's also the hardest pill to swallow. When you start seeing the big picture and taking yourself out of being a judge, like this motherfucker did this to me, or this and that and this, and you're pointing a finger, but the whole time, like, you have to focus on yourself. And I'm saying this to me. If I was looking in the mirror and be like, listen, I love you, but you got to focus on you, and you got to do what's right for you. Because if you're not happy, guess what? Ain't nobody going to be happy around you either.
Sure. Okay, well then, what else, if you take it as everything happens for, you're saying when people say everything happens for a reason, right. Do you take it like super literally, where you say like, duh,
I would never say that to somebody.
Yeah, you would never say
I would never say that to somebody. That is a lesson that I've learned in like my life. If somebody's going through, I have a close friend of the family that's going through a very similar situation that I went through.
Okay.
With my ex-wife and kids.
Okay.
And no, I would never say, hey, shit happens for a reason. That's not going to make anything better.
And the connotations to that are weird. Like, because like sometimes I take it where I'm like, yeah, everything does happen for a literal reason. But they don't mean it like that. They mean
if
one door
anybody
closes.
Needs to say it, it's the person that's going through it. It's not somebody who's going to be like, I'm going to say something that's going to cheer this guy up. That is not going to do it.
Would you say that's synonymous with one door closes, another door opens?
I would say that you are either opening or shutting a door.
Right. But if somebody else tells you that's happening, it's kind of like, whatever, don't say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that, it's tough to get into somebody that is really hurting. I'm not a psychologist or a counselor or any of that, but when somebody's like going through some stuff like divorce or losing your kids, those things are top of the line, most stressful. You're going to have the most like suicidal kind of tendencies going on when that happens. Or losing a child. That's actually second to losing your wife. But it's hard to get into to really say so. You really got to wait for it, just be there for the person and try not to be annoying, I guess. I don't know.
Hey, I mean, the stuff that you're putting down, I'm picking up in the sense that, like, I've had friends who've been to jail. I've had friends who've been to the hospital, and I have had to learn to listen because I did start out by judging them and giving them advice, and like what was that to do? Was
that's
that to
just
really
how we're
make them
grown up.
feel better, or was it to make me feel better? Probably me, you know?
Right, like I did this guy a favor, and he's going to take that and go, make gold out of it.
Like that's
I
going to
doubt it.
happen, right? Yeah.
I doubt it. It's, if anything, I know, a buddy of mine, Robert Mocker, did something really cool for me. He knew I was depressed, and he knew I was feeling bad. And he said, he picked me up one day, he said, come on, we're going. I was like, all right, we'll go somewhere, and he took me out for the weekend. We stayed out at Nelson's Ledges and had a great weekend, and that was awesome. That never said nothing about nothing for, for anything.
Just showed you a good time.
Just hung out with me. Was my friend and wasn't trying to figure it all out, because hell if I know what's going on half the time.
That is the best thing you can do for somebody is for somebody you care about, is just like spend a time with them, hear them out, maybe offer a little bit of advice when asked for, but not to be so overt about it, correct?
Yeah. I mean, but what do you do when you can't get to that person and they're going through it,
Yeah.
And we could go so many places with that. But I would say it would all come back to what's going to encourage anybody is...
I'm doing a podcast right now.
Right now. Stop interrupting the podcast.
Are you going to come and be on it later?
I told you to pencil me in. Thank you, sorry. I told you to get your secretary to get with
I'll get
mine.
my people with yours, and I'll get
What
back
would be
with
the
you.
details?
And we'll walk around downtown and do a podcast.
Right on.
All right. Sorry to interrupt you, man.
Yeah, I don't even know what I was talking. Rude bitch.
Yeah,
Just
right?
kidding. Just kidding. Well, I think what all that boils down to
Sure.
is people really taking care of themselves. Like, for example, when I was in jail and I got out, there was obviously some things that I was looking for, and they were different because I didn't want to be around the same people. I'd obviously learned some things and taken my time seriously, and changed my outlook on just what was going on in my life and how I could change it. So
That's cool, man.
so when you saw certain people doing the same thing that they were doing 2 years ago, there's your sign.
That's not cool.
Yeah, there's your sign. You're not really doing anything in life. But those people that really did focus on themselves and progressed on down the line, to me, that was encouraging. They didn't stay in the same spot, and they're doing things. So that was encouraging to me, anyway.
Well, that's cool, man. I know sometimes, like, if you do end up not being able to help yourself and then jumping to the conclusion of giving, like, advice that might be too aggressive at the time, then, like, 2 years will go by and then you'll see that friend or loved one taking that advice inadvertently. And it, like, you want to be like, why didn't you just take it the first time? And you want to talk like that. But it's like they get to it at their own pace and there's almost nothing you can do about it. And, like, it might not have anything to do with anything you said, by the way. It's like you just, like, you were like, hey, hopefully you'll go this way. Maybe I can help slightly nudge, but probably not a whole lot. There's what percentage of change did I actually cause in my loved one? Probably just a very small, like it was them that took the step, if they improved at all in their life.
Yeah.
And that's what people have to remember. I talk to people who've gone through some hardcore things with their marriages and some really bad, like, things with suicidal things that have happened and stuff, and they're blaming themselves, and they're blaming, like, they're saying, if only I'd seen, if only. And I'm just like, dude, like, you have to know. You just have to know that, like, that stuff isn't anybody's choice to get out of, but the person who did it. Like, you might be able to help them to an extent, but if they don't want help, they sure as hell won't get it.
Well, there's that, and then there's some kind of active help as well, where you take it on, to actually put some stuff like that on your shoulders and help that person carry it. Though it's not your job, that's a whole nother ball game. One that I've tried to put myself in and failed. I thought failed at. I tried. I'm moving, like, people into my house to get them off of stuff and, like, let them stack their chips so they could actually move up in life. Like, get a house. To me, I think that's important. Just because Youngstown property is so cheap, and you got people paying $600-700 a month when you could buy a house for $2,500.
Yeah,
You know, you would have to do some work on your own, but I mean, if you're scared of that, then yeah, you'll be on welfare and you'll be mooching off of everybody and probably won't be happy with your life because you're not accomplishing anything on your own.
Yes. Well, I mean, that's cool, and I do think that it sounds like you've said your piece to a lot of people, whether it's helped or not, and you have the best of intentions. So it's always nice to hear when somebody is proactive in a communal sense to try to help people they really care about, let alone people they don't really know, like you said, you know, like.
Or will it ever be noticed? It doesn't matter to me. I don't need a banner or flag wave. To me, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It comes down to being responsible for what is presented to you at that time during the day, because it's not that's somebody else's problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's not somebody else's problem. You were presented with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's your problem now. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah. And you the best somebody else can do is possibly just make them aware that they've got that, and they've got that problem, and help to the extent they can help. But I like, so you said a few good intriguing things to me. I like that you're saying, like, instead of voting.
Went off a
little tangent.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. That's what this podcast is. Yeah. This podcast doesn't have a very definitive point.
It's art.
It's just art. It's just the only thing I hope is that somebody hears something that we don't know is helping them, and it helps them. Like,
all right.
You know, throwing stuff out there randomly to hope that it catches. So I guess, like, but you know, the things that really stuck to me so far are that you said, like, instead of voting, you go out and try to, like, you know, one by one help people. I like that. And instead of going to church, you just try to have these personal interactions with people and hope that.
Or voting. You know, I'm not saying that even all that stuff is wrong.
No, but I'm saying that's your take. Yeah.
For me, it doesn't work like that at all.
Maybe someone will hear that and apply something like that to their life, and it'll help, or not, whatever.
I mean, all of those things were a time in my life that I would say that I grew out of. It's like holding your dad's hand when you're walking across the street.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you do that when you're a kid, but you do that when you're 10 years old. People are going to look at you like, yo, what is wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you still, you don't know how to look both ways?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Your dad didn't teach you how to look both ways. If your dad didn't teach you how to look both ways before you cross the street, then yes, you have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You should probably get it checked out. Or your dad should get it checked out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a growth. Everything is a growth. If you're staying in one spot, doing the same thing the whole time, and nothing's working, you probably need to move on.
Good advice, man. Definitely good advice.
And there's nothing wrong with moving on. You can look at the situation and be like, that hasn't worked, so I'm a failure. That's not what that's saying.
No.
It's just saying, it's not working right now.
Mm-hmm.
Go find something else to do that's going to work for you. So.
Very cool. I mean, I think that's great, and people need to learn, whether it's in a small way or big, that you just got to keep one foot in front of the other, and hopefully something good will happen. You got to turn some corners sometimes.
I wouldn't even hope for something good to happen.
No.
Nope. I wouldn't. No, because you just got to put one foot in front of the other,
mm-hmm.
you know.
Hopefully it's just for survival, and then a bonus is the good thing if it happens.
A lot of times, that hope is a pipe dream, and you're not being, like, real with yourself in a situation. Like, you just got to be like, yo, this sucks, but I got to keep going. I got to keep doing it. And it's not just for you, it's really for other people, because there is always somebody that cares for you, even if you are a complete asshole. Somebody still loves you, you know, and you're going to break their heart more than you break your own, or your heart might be broken at the time. You're going to hurt their heart more.
Yeah, man.
You got to keep going for everybody else. Like there's a quote in my bedroom that says, we were created for community, and this can happen with paint. So that's kind of where I'm at.
We were created for community, and this can happen with paint?
Paint, yeah.
Oh, cool, man. That's neat. I like that. What's that? What is that getting at?
It's just us being like a part, like, all right, usually painting is like a very, like it's just one person doing it, you know? But when you get everybody doing it, like you get one painting where it's just one guy, and you're like, wow, that's awesome. But what if the painting was everybody? That's the community part.
Okay.
Like, we can get there. One of my goals is I want to teach inner city kids, or even mentally handicapped kids, or just kids, period, it don't matter, or adults, whatever. Like paint. I think something happens when you paint. It chills you out, gives you a time to really process what's going on, and you actually see it going on. It gives your eye a chance to slow down and see what's really happening, instead of all this stuff we got going on now, where it's like you can see anything you want at any point in time, anywhere. It doesn't matter. But painting, on the other hand, it doesn't work like that. It slows all that down, and it brings you, I think, into yourself.
Well, I have one of my brothers, Jack Boyle, who listeners of this podcast are familiar with. He's in my band with me. He would definitely agree with you. He paints. I think he initially did it for therapy, and then it started being kind of like in an inadvertent way for other people, like because he'd make this art and then he put it up in public somewhere, places where it wasn't supposed to go, but he put it up, and then it started becoming more than therapy. It started becoming like, oh, I can be communal with this. I can put this up under a bridge, or I can put this up on a wall downtown, or wherever places. And so it initially came from just putting the paint to the canvas or putting it to the wall, and it did something for him. And he's like a audio person, musician. So it was like to turn to another form of creativity purely for therapy ended up being like also communal for other people and stuff like that. So I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah, most definitely. It's encouraging, to know that your art is actually provokes something inside of somebody, and that's, I think, really what the goal of art is to provoke some kind of emotion out of the onlookers, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
You're trying to draw something out. They might not even know how to say what's going on other than, wow, that's really awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
But inside it's doing something to them. It's saying something to them. It's like a language with no words. It's colors and movements and shapes and how you put them all together, how you make it flow. How your composition. It's just like music. It's when you compose it right and you have everything just right, it gets people moving.
Yeah.
Or whatever, that makes them sad. Whatever goal you're trying to achieve with that is going to do it. So.
Well, dude, it was a pleasure talking to you. It was really nice to hear your thoughts on art and on like the world and just like how you live your life. That's all I could ever hope to get out of this podcast. It's a bonus to get somebody who's like able to kind of like go with my free form and just run with it. Who doesn't want the structure, who just wants to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really appreciate it. And then could you just say our tagline for me? It's all you have to say is, "Look, Mom, we're on a podcast."
Look, Mom, we're on a podcast.
And anything else you'd like? Any plugs or like you want to say the name of your tattoo place or anything like that? Or
nope, nope. Just
no
me. If you need to find me and you're interested in what I do, then you can find me on Facebook or you can give me a call. You know how to get a hold of me.
Joshua Fellows.
Yes,
all
sir.
right. Hey, thank you for talking to me, man. This was a really great interview. And thanks for meeting me. I know I'm a strange man who just messaged you and asked for an interview. I appreciate your open-mindedness.
Probably even stranger, but it's okay.
All right. Well, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Welcome. No worries, brother.
Hey, this is Michael from the one band called the Automatons, a whole bunch of other stuff before. Check out the Nursery podcast on Ohio Creative. Yeah.